Hey guys, welcome to Rosie's Dessert Spot. Today we'll be making a fun sailor themed cake, 3-tier with each tier having its own independent sailor-like theme. So we're taking the 8-inch base. It's already been crumb coated and filled. We're just applying a final layer of frosting all around in buttercream. The recipe for this will be listed in the eye icon for you and also in the description box below. Smooth that out, fill in any pockets as you go, and then bring that leopard frosting towards the middle of the cake. Before you set this in the fridge, you want to apply your sugar, so don't let the buttercream harden yet. You want it to be nice and wet and soft so that it will stick to your sugar. You could use brown sugar or coconut sugar. Both of these will work well in the way of looking like sand. Pop it into the fridge and then take your 6-inch following the same steps to cover, and then pop this one into the freezer instead for about 20 minutes. That way it hardens on the outside enough for you to be able to handle it with your hands and not mess up the frosting. I've also applied some bubble tea straws or dowels, you could use dowels instead, into my 8-inch, cut it flush with the very top, and then just poking them back in. These are going to act like pillars, stability pillars. They're going to hold up the weight of the cake. Otherwise, the cake will sink into the bottom tier and it'll be a whole big mess. Stick your cakes together with a little bit of frosting and then take some of that buttercream, add in blue gel food color in 3 different shades, and then a 104 piping tip for each bag and color. I'm creating waves starting at the very top, overlapping. But the very first row is going to be up and over the edge of the cake, so it just looks a bit more interesting. Alternate the colors as you go. And then add bubble tea straws into this one as well because we are applying a final tier again, the 4-inch. I'm adding 3 bubble tea straws into the 6-inch only because the last layer of cake, it's not really big and it's not too heavy, so it doesn't need as much, stability or dowels. Cover your cake just like your 6-inch into the freezer for 20 minutes and then stick it together with buttercream. Again, the freezer really helps to set that buttercream so firmly that you can handle it with your hands and it won't mess up. Add a ribbon at the base to hide the seam and then take some blue fondant with cornstarch just to make sure it doesn't stick to your countertop. Roll it out to about 3 or so millimeters in thickness and then take an anchor cookie cutter, pressing it and rubbing it against the surface to make sure that the edges are cut nice and sharp. Try not to use a sharp object or a hard object to press the fondant out of the anchor. Rather, you could use a soft brush instead, and that way you don't get any ugly dints on the surface of your fondant. Take a log of yellow fondant with cornstarch, press it into a rope mold, cut off the excess, and then push and press into the back of the mold to help it come out. You could also hold it nice and firmly against the tabletop as I am here, and that'll just kind of push out easily. For the last bit of fondant decorations, you'll need some brown fondant, again using cornstarch to make sure it doesn't stick into your mold, and just press it into the shell cavities. Push them out, let them dry for about 20 minutes before applying them onto your cake, just to make sure that they maintain their shape. And if there's too much cornstarch on there, take a dry brush and just brush it all off. I also let my anchors sit on the counter for about 20 minutes or so. That way they're nice and hard, and when I lift them, they don't start to droop, they hold their shape really well. And I can just press them onto the cake with a little bit of water behind to help it stick. Drape your rope into the little pockets and just cut off the excess as you go. I just pinched it right off. For the finishing touch, we're going to take our now firm shells, we're going to press them into the cake, into the sand, and just leave them resting on the board. And that's it! Your sailor style cake is complete with all buttercream decorations, save for those little fondant elements. Being all buttercream, it's so much easier and takes a lot less time compared to if you were trying to create all fondant decorations. So I definitely recommend using buttercream for this. If you recreate it, hashtag Rosie's Dessert Spot so I can see your awesome creation as well. Feel free to subscribe and we'll see you again in the next one.